or if you are a highly effective teacher, you don't find a job in 60 days, you're not guaranteed a placement. You have 3 options. One option is to leave with a buyout, which could be $25,000. If you have the age and time, you could qualify for early out. If you have at least 20 years and are at least 50 years old, you could qualify for that. And I think the third option is a 1-year placement. And that 1-year placement gives you an extra year to work, and you've got to find another job, another teaching job. So this is different from other unions, in that other unions who are like the school personnel, they could be guaranteed a job according to the questionnaire if their positions are positions that are likely to increase. Of course, as you know, principals and vice principals are all on a 1-year contract, so they are very likely not to have a job, because we know that under Henderson and under the re-administration, every year they fire a significant share of principals. The bottom line is that when Ree came in, she created, and her education plan was to get rid of a significant share of the workforce, the teaching workforce. That was part of the plan. And through the contract, when you get accessed, through the new impact evaluation was another way, to get rid of teachers. And I've called it on my blog, I've written about it in past years, called 1,000 Ways to Kill a Teacher. Now
we have never before been in the situation where we really had to question whether the school system can survive. When the council held its hearings, Mary Che said, aren't we in danger of a downward spiral? The same thing that Daniel said in introducing this. Close schools, lose students, lose funding, close some more schools. And indeed what happened in 2008 was that they had, 2 or 3 million feet of what they called excess space. And after they lost all the students, just in 1 year, they still had 2 or 3 million square feet of excess space. So, if this keeps happening, we're not going to have a system. And in the old days, we had schools that were across the street from each other. We had schools that were a block apart. We sometimes had 2 schools that shared the same principal and they'd get consolidated. None of this is happening anymore. And certainly there are cases where young children are going to have to go very far. And we don't pay for much for transportation. All our transportation, as those of you who are parents know, is on Metro. And you have to pay half fare for each child. That really adds up, particularly for low-income people, and they're the ones whose schools are being closed. I think that we really need to decide as a city, do we want small schools? Do we want walkable neighborhood schools? And everybody says we're for this. But I don't see the action that would preserve them.
Our children's learning styles are unique. The things that interest our children are unique, and the learning experience in our schools is impacted by poverty, lack of health care, the violence in our communities, sometimes drug abuse. And in order to accommodate and overcome those challenges, you need people who are deeply, deeply committed to our progress. And so it's the experienced teachers who were excessed. It was the experienced administrators and principals who have been removed who actually cause us to lose something that we just can't replace with a Teach for America teacher. I'm sorry, with all due respect.
So what school did you attend when that school got closed?
West Monroe and Georgia Avenue.
Okay. Now, what grade were you in when they closed your school?
Kindergarten when they announced the closure, and 2nd grade when they demolished it.
They knocked it right on down, didn't they? Oh. Yes. Okay. So when you found out that your school was closing, how did that make you feel?
Upset and disappointed because that was the only school I attended and they didn't have no reason to close it down.
That's right. How did your classmates feel? How did your friends feel about that?
They felt confused and just like me and upset because we didn't know what was going on, and
you had mentioned that sometimes it made you all kind of feel a little bit like, is it my fault? Was that true? Like you guys felt like, did we do something?
yeah, like we were upset because we didn't want our school to be closed down.
So how was it getting used to your new school?
I was scared because I thought my teachers were going to be mean, but I thought I was going to have the same teachers, but not all of them came to the new building.
And as we can hear, everything that the panel has spoken on is distilled into this one young man. So this is a tough question because I know it hurts a little bit, but you live down in that area where the school was knocked down. How do you feel when you go by the school and see it, and you don't see your school there anymore?
I don't really walk past it that much, but when I go to like basketball practice and my dad drives me, I think about it, and like it's like I'm crying in my head.
Well, that's sad, yeah, because their school was knocked down, and they were promised that their school would be rebuilt. Michelle Rhee sent them to Parkview, about 100-year-old school, where we had to do some other fighting to get that fixed. And then they knocked it on down, and that cost $3 million or something just to do that. So throughout all this process, we did a lot of fighting, which you were involved in, your brothers were involved in, your mom was involved in. Did you think that was important for us to continue fighting?
Yes, because they needed to rebuild our school and keep their promise that they made.
So I think it was in 2010 that the announcement was made that River Terrace Elementary School was going to be closed. And
the announcement was River Terrace and Shade in Ward 5.
Right. And our neighborhood actually came together in a very awesome and amazing way, and we had a mass meeting at the school with Chancellor Henderson, where we had probably, I don't know, like 200 people, almost probably more than that even, who showed up to essentially make the case to keep that school open. And we were there for hours and hours, and in turn, people got up and spoke about the value of this building and what it represented to our neighborhood and why it should stay open, and did that in a clearly effective way, because the outshoot was that the chancellor said, okay, well, we're not going to close it at the end of this year. We'll give you a year to increase enrollment, and I want you to make note of this, and we will work with you on that. Okay? So we then set about to do exactly that, to raise the enrollment. And we had enrollment fairs, and we canvassed our neighborhood, and we encouraged everybody in the neighborhood who maybe was sending their kids elsewhere, because it should be noted that the principal at the time didn't love us.
We named her the closer.
the closer. And so she was very effective in driving students out of the school, because she would antagonize and confront and be basically rude to parents who would be like, okay, well, I don't have to take that. I'm moving my kids. So she, actively contributed to the decline in enrollment. But nonetheless, we even met with her, tried to work with her. We went and talked to, the regional superintendents, and, we did all of the things that you do when you're trying to play nice and honor the system. We did all of those things. And essentially what happened was the chancellor ignored us. She would not meet with us. We requested repeatedly to meet with her. She wouldn't. Until the point where she was ready to tell us, oh, I've decided that your school is closing?
I'm saying to you, it's not about our children, it's about cash. It's not about community, it's about pocket. And I say all of the council members are crooks. Every last one of them. In our city, we have criminals. We have Frank and Jesse James, a.k.a. Mary and Mary Gray. We have Mom Barker and the boys, a.k.a. Henderson, and whoever. But what we need to do is fight and get them out.
We need to educate our community, one, about voting and about the process and about the fact that you can make choices. But I also think that we have to find and support candidates that are going to come from within us, who are going to do the work that we want done, that we can trust to do it. Not just because they were born here. Because the ones that were born here are the ones that are selling us down the river. And we can name them. Alexander, Gray, Brown, Orange, so we can name them. Right? Bowser, right? Thomas. So there are many, we can name them. Barry's not originally from here, but he might as well be. And he's selling us down the river right now. So if we want to do something different, we have to actually do something different. So we can come to these meetings, and we've had them. And we can keep coming to these meetings, and we can sit around and we can keep talking. We can go out and we can sign petitions and walk up and down the street and get people kind of slightly aware of it, and when you're trying to interrupt their day, right? But we've got to do more than just interrupt their day. We've got to file the lawsuits. We've got to get people energized and ready to go out and find folks that are going to actually run and do the work that we need done. So
I'm actually more concerned specifically in galvanizing our parents and our residents in our immediate community to get them motivated and committed and unafraid to actually speak out and join organizations or protest and speak out against the illegality that's going on in their schools. One of the issues that I have, certainly as a commissioner, is being able to convince parents that they really can make a difference. To convince my ANC colleagues that we really can make a difference. It was actually Marie Jones and her Burroughs family that actually came and empowered me to help them. Commentary about what has happened in Chicago and how it is that the teachers, unfortunately, because of fear, have been absolutely paralyzed in their inability to come out and speak out. So I am definitely committed to go out now and speaking out on behalf of my community, my residents, and any other person in the District of Columbia.
I want to say to you, I was the parent that wrote the story on the cheating scandal in DC Public School. It's not just a noise issue, it's a citywide issue that I wanted to bring to the table. And I'm telling you today, if we don't understand our powers as parents and community leaders, I want to share two things with you. The Common Core standards were voted on by the State Board of Education illegally because the State Office of Education put it in place behind closed doors. They didn't have an open meeting, and they continue to do the same thing. I'm asking you today, Brown versus the Board of Education says one thing: a kid deserves a quality education in which the community he or she lives. If we close schools and charter schools don't allow our children to come in, then the city council and the mayor are in violation of the law, and I want you to look at it.
I'm Allison Criner Brown, representing Teaching for Change, and we will pledge, already constantly talking with Daniel, and we'll pledge to make sure we're helping to spread the word with our parent and our teacher networks and the platform that we have to make sure people know about what's going on in DC, and then also sharing at the national level. But we constantly talking with the power and let us know we can support it. I'm also a Ward 4 resident. I'm a former Teach for America teacher who I used to be Teach for America, now I'm Teaching for Change. And I'm fighting because I live in DC, I love DC, and I want to send my kids to public school.
Perry Rand, Ward 4, Director of Cynthia 7, Works Rights Group. And I'm also, I'm running for City Council because I believe that this is an issue. And it's a platform issue for me that we should not be privatizing our public assets. And so one plank of our campaign is pride in public assets, and that means not giving our schools or whatever to the corporations. And also another plank is respect for DC teachers. That hasn't happened, and it will happen if you change it. And you can change it, because the folks on council right now don't care.